Hi, everybody that's joining.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I
If
can see
you're
myself.
tuning
Yay.
in, we can't see. Oh, we can see people joining at the. I don't know if you
Yeah,
guys
at the
can see at the
bottom.
bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hey everyone.
Yay. So cool.
Hi. To put my
We,
glasses on.
we're waiting for a little more people to kind of come in, and then we will get started in about a minute or two. So grab some wine, eat your dinner. It's going to be a fun chat, everyone. So we're super excited to get started.
I should have got
This
wine.
is not wine, y'all. Water.
I hope.
But it's what I can drink.
Right. Didn't they say, can't you drink some red wine? No, is that a myth?
I don't know. I wish it was true, though.
I'll give everybody about 1 more minute to get in, and then we will get started.
Oh, it like jumped all of a sudden. Or maybe mine's delayed. I don't know.
My mom's texting me. Can you see us?
Hi, Mom.
Our mom.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. I think Maya's watching too. So.
Oh, yay.
Oh, everybody's mom is so cool. My mom was like, I don't know how to work my phone, so I can't.
Yeah, that's about what my mom is doing right now, too. So I'll give everybody about 30 more seconds, and then we will get started. But thanks for tuning in if you are already watching.
Hey, this is cool.
This is. It's so weird how we have to turn everything digital now.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
It's
I love
different.
Real quick.
I get to stay at home. I love it.
That's for the
But
part, right?
right. All right. Well, ladies, let's get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Nandi Howard. I am fashion editor for Essence, and we want to welcome and thank you for joining us virtually today. As you know, we are all practicing social distancing, and we are here with the amazing women of influence and of color and color. We hope that you and your loved ones are definitely healthy, staying at home, but we thank you for tuning in. We're about to get into some fun chats and convos. But just before we do that, I wanted to give everybody a kind of just intro about these amazing queens. These 4 women each began their journey in the influencer world independently. And as you guys who are tuning in know, that can be kind of a challenge. And so they have all achieved success in their own way through LIKEtoKNOW.it. Their paths crossed in 2018. And in 2019, they joined forces to create Influencing in Color, a platform that provides a positive influence for people of all colors through advocacy, collaboration, and a commitment to diversity and inclusivity. And I think for everybody watching, you know that in the influencer world, that is something that, we're trying to definitely break through. So during this panel, feel free to submit questions. We're going to be answering some with a quick Q&A at the end. But, we're going to get started so far. So please give a further ado to Shay, Brandy, Megan, and Nikki. How are you guys doing today?
Hey.
Amazing. Hello.
Blessed,
Yes.
highly favored.
Right. I know that you all had an event in Atlanta last month, and we're supposed to be in New York, but due to stay-at-home orders and the pandemic, we're doing this digitally. But I wanted to just first get started, I think, and everyone just kind of go around and say your backgrounds and what were you doing before you entered this influencer space?
Well, hi, guys. It's me. I'm Shay. I guess it does say that on the screen, so I have but my influencer journey actually started as a grad school project, and it was going to be for my thesis, and I had bought a domain and did all the work, and I decided to ditch the blog as a thesis idea, and I did a whole nother topic for my master's. But I started to gain traction. I had bought my domain, and Ahmad was like, there's no going back, like, you've already invested in this, so keep going. So that was, I think, I don't even know how long ago that was now, some years. And then I also worked in retail management for 10, 11 years. And then last June, I decided to leave my comfort state, as I like to call it, and start blogging full time and being a stylist.
All right, I guess I'll go ahead and get started. Hey everybody, it's Brandy. Um, my background before I got into the influencer space, I'm still actually in that. I teach elementary school still, and this is my 9th year of teaching. I'll be closing out. It is so sad that I won't be able to like officially say bye to my last, group of children, because I won't be returning to teach in the following school year. So I'll be full-time too with a newborn and all that kind of stuff. But I'm still teaching. I'm still doing my thing. And before I started out, it was just, I started my blog to show what we were doing around our house, because we bought a house. It was a fixer-upper, super old. It was built in the 1920s, and it was a way to kind of keep up with everything and show what was going on in the house. Well, that ended, and so did the content that I was going to be able to put up there. And so it quickly evolved into a style blog where I could answer that age-old question, like, where'd you get that? And then from there, it just kind of evolved. I just kept at it, and here we are today.
And hi guys, I'm actually sitting outside, so I have myself on mute because you might hear like dogs or like my wind chime. But so to answer the question, being interested in style and fashion has always been something that's been a part of me for like as long as I can remember. And I kind of just like carried it on throughout my years of growing up, like back in high school, like my MySpace and college days is when I really noticed that people started to take a liking into like what I was doing and putting out there on a daily basis. So it was just always a hobby of mine that never really left. I would always get like fashion advice questions from my friends, and it kind of felt like second nature to me. So I saw an opportunity to build off of that, but online. So that's when I decided to launch my blog back in 2011. But oh, like what a journey it's been since then. It's been like on and off, like evolving, transitioning. I've been, changing things here and there. And when I first became an influencer, I was working in retail up to about a year and a half ago is when I finally got out of retail. But just being in that retail space always gave me like the style, inspiration. So just that situation alone kind of like helped develop my style, and which is why I'm here where I am today.
Okay, sorry, I had to unmute myself too because I also have a dog who barks really loud. But my story kind of has a lot of twists and turns. But I initially started because I was at home with my daughter, and I was really bored. My son was in, I think, kindergarten, and my daughter was just born, and we decided that I was going to stay at home with her. I got really bored, needed something to do, like a creative outlet. So I started just taking all these pictures. I read a book about Kiara Farajani and like Ami Song or something like that. And I was like, wow, these girls are making like over 6 figures, some of them 7, probably way more than that now. And I was like, okay, if they can do that, I can do it too. I can do what they do. So I kind of started, I didn't really know how to start, but I just did. Like Shay, I bought my domain, and then I just kind of started playing around with it. And then in the midst of all of that, my husband lost his job and I went back to work. And when I went back to work, I didn't want to go back to work. I didn't want to work for anybody else, is really the honest truth. I wanted to work for myself. And it took a minute, but I kept doing it. I kept, posting things and talking to brands and things like that. And eventually I got my first collaboration, got my first check. And once I saw that there was the possibility to make money doing it, and I actually did it, I decided that I was going to quit my job. So I quit my job, and here we are.
Right. Well, thank you guys for all sharing how you kind of started transitioning or what you were doing before this or still doing. But Nikki, I wanted to ask you, in 2018, you all kind of came together and created Influencing in Color. What was that aha moment? What made you guys want to connect and create this influencer group?
Okay, so we all met in different spaces, different times, different all that kind of stuff. And then, long story short, we eventually all came together. I met Brandy first, then Megan, then Shay and actually, ironically, at a Like to Know It event is where I met Shay. And then me, Shay, and Megan had a lunch together and talked about a bunch of stuff. Then we added Brandy in, and then we all decided we were going to Fashion Week together in I think it was September of 2018. And when we went, for if you don't know, if you're not an influencer, if you are, you know, before you go to Fashion Week, you kind of reach out to different brands to see if you can have meetings when you go to the showrooms or to go to different events. And we knew of this one big event that most of the like fashion bloggers go to, and we didn't get invited to it. So I think Shay was the one who reached out to this specific brand and asked if we could come, and they put us on a wait list. So we were like, okay, well, we don't know if we're going to be going or not, but we eventually got the okay that we were going to be on the list to go. So we showed up to this event, and when we get there, you know, we look around and are like, you know, where are the other girls that kind of look like us? Why are there only 4? I mean, there was us 4 and then maybe like a sprinkle, but it was just like you go to an event and there's only, out of 500 girls there's 10 that look like you. That doesn't say much to who they are actually reaching out to. So at that point, there were a couple of other events that we went to and things like that we saw. And then on social media, all these girls going to these events. And we were like, well, why didn't we get invited to this event? This is a huge brand in Texas. Like, why would we not be going to this event where all these other bloggers are going that we also know from Houston? So we went back to the hotel room, started talking about it. And I had benched this idea of Influencing in Color and put it on the shelf a long time ago. And then I brought it up in the room and we just kind of started talking about it. And that's when it was really actually Influencing in Color was actually, I guess, birthed, you could say. It's we decided, right, okay, when we get back, this is what we're going to do. And we did it.
Definitely. Yeah, no, New York Fashion Week is one of those things where I think it's an evolving kind of event or events, but it's that there definitely needs to be more of us in the room. So what you guys are doing is great. I wanted to pose the question to all of you. Like to Know It is what's brought us all together, but how has that helped you each individually with your own blog, brand, social media, and so forth?
For me, first, I just want to say, Like to Know It has like been supportive of me and my personal brand like since day one. That works there always, you know, helped in any way that I needed, especially in the Like to Know It family aspect, as I show not just me but my entire family. And I also think that they give out so many tools and information that is not utilized, I don't think, but I use it to help me grow my business. And I look at Like to Know It as it's part of my business. Like me and Amon meet about, we have a business plan. I figure out how many times I need to post in the app in order to generate the revenue that I'm trying to generate. Reach out to brands to figure out, you know, what kind of thing I can work out with them so that I can post more in the app, that type of thing. And then I think in the biggest way that Like to Know It has kind of helped launch not even just my brand, but financially, is working with brands that I never thought that I would be able to work with in the past. They have, for example, like me and Ahmad did a Lacoste shoot and partnership with them. And that's like a brand that I would have never thought that I would have been able to work with. And not just for me, but also being able to include my husband. And I just want to thank the Like to Know It team because I know y'all are on here, but thank you guys for allowing me to be able not to only work for myself, but also my family be able to work too and work with brands. And I mean, it's been uphill since I've joined the app. And I just want to say I've got denied 3 times before I got on the app. So persistence is key.
I agree. I was denied once. Like once I figured, I was like, oh, this is something I need to be a part of. And I applied and I was like, well, oh, I didn't get approved. And it was actually something that it brought attention to what I needed to do to improve, which is to be more consistent about what I was doing, what I was posting, because if you're going to post once a week, and it's I don't know, not that great of a photo of the product that you're wearing, and like, how are people going to shop it? So it really helped me to really pull back and say, oh, duh, I need to do this kinds of stuff. I need to improve on my end. But as far as just helping to grow my business, I would say it's like Shay is saying, also through brand partnerships. I found a beautiful balance in that, being able to partner with brands that, have found me through the app and that kind of stuff. But also the flexibility to not just be a fashion influencer. It kind of also helped me to get more into the beauty part of it, because there's like there's nothing that can't be found or linked in the app. So if I just posted a selfie and it's my lipstick or it's my mascara or, my skincare products, I now have the flexibility to step outside of fashion and talk about, beauty and skincare and makeup and stuff like that. So I love that it's really this flexible thing that it's really a place to put everything once you start posting in the app. And it doesn't trap you into just one small market, like Shay was saying. Like, it was her, and how it's family and it's home and it's everything that's a part of your life. So brand partnerships, as well as the flexibility to go between all the different genres of what it is to be an influencer, has definitely helped me out. I think that's what it is for me.
And for me, I'll say really quickly, I'm going to put my earphones on because my neighbors just came out to play with their dog. And these aren't even the right ones. Sorry. But for me, I would say that LIKEtoKNOW.it is such a powerful platform. And for me, like, alongside Shay and Brandy, I've also been denied, and I remember being denied like years ago when I was just starting out. And so this goes to show that everything is a process and it's a slow progress. And for me, like, just being able to have the knowledge and the tools to be helped, like when I need it. You have like your own influencer specialist that emails you every week or every day, all the information that you need to know, helping me get on my game. I'm learning from them constantly about things that I didn't even know exist in the app and like how to use it. So anytime you have a question, they're always there to help you. And it's so easy to learn like within the app, and just to develop as you grow as an influencer, which is why I think it's such a powerful tool. And I think that all influencers, whether you're in fashion, home, beauty, everybody needs to be on the app, because it's such a great way to have another level of success within your business. And it's all around amazing.
Residual income.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they've said everybody's kind of taking care of all of the points that I would make, but also there's also an element of, Brandy kind of touched on it, but brand visibility when you're in the app. You also have, because you're in the app and you have all your followers on Instagram or whatever social media platform that you use, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, and all the other ones that there are out there, but then you also have your followers that are within the app, and those followers are shoppers. They're in the app because they want to shop. You have followers on Instagram because they're on there, whether it's to be nosy or to get some information, or for whatever reason they're on the app, on Instagram. But then you have your actual shopping customers. Like, I still have people that will DM me when I post something, and they're like, they'll send me a direct message. Hey, you didn't put those earrings in the app. Can you link those? Like, they are actually going there because they want to shop. So there's also, like I said, the brand visibility. There are brands that actually go into the app to look for different influencers because they know that, you're using their affiliate links and that you're going to drive traffic back to their website. So there's, the brand recognition. the additional followers, because you're going to have followers that are in the app that maybe are not on Instagram, you know? So you have that too. So you have all these different ways you can talk to them. And then just like everybody said, they're like, you know what, everybody there has been really supportive. It's kind of like a family. Like once you're in there and everybody's willing to help and everybody is interested in helping you grow your business.
Right. I wanted to know quickly if one or two of you can answer, is there true money in being an influencer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I get to ask.
I will say, like, when I first started my blog and posting about it, it was out of genuine excitement. It was, and it still is. And it was because I had something I wanted to share that I was super passionate about, and I still do. And it's one of those things where you start to do something that you love, and the success comes after because you're so excited about what you're doing. You can't start it because you want to just make money. You have to have something that you're passionate about, something that you really want to share, because if not, you're gonna be tired of it. Like if that was the case, I would have quit a long time ago, because it's not easy. It's not just a little bit of work. It's a whole lot of work every day, all day. It's a job that never turns off. It's something that you constantly think about. So I didn't know that there was money in when I first started, but there's definitely money in it, because you know, I'm happy.
Okay, yeah. Right. And I know that offline I had asked you ladies, sometimes people may feel like, how can I ask for it, or what are those proper steps to take to actually make the money? So if somebody else could quickly answer, how do you start that process? Like, let's say a brand reaches out to me and says they want me to post, but you know, they say, oh, we can offer you a discount, 80% off these shoes, but it's like you're asking me to post it. What's the proper way to kind of start seeing income?
I'll let Shay answer.
I knew you were going to say that. I mean, for me, you have to know your worth. And I always say that, like, it takes time. So just to list out a few things, and we're going to use the shoe example, like you said. So if a brand sends me shoes, that means I still have to buy an outfit, which costs money that I have to shoot. I have to pay a mod. Yes, he's my photographer. This is a business, so I have to pay him. And then, I mean, you have to create content, scout location to create that content, edit the content, turn it in on time. Sometimes they want to reshoot. Like, I mean, the list goes on, and none of that is free, you know? And I think sometime I was listening actually to a podcast yesterday, and one of the things she said is that women are afraid to ask for money. And that's one of the reasons why men make more money than we do, is because they go in firm and know exactly what they want, and we're hesitant to ask for what we think that we are worth. And I think that we really should change our mindset on that, because everything that you do and put your hands on is valuable, and time is valuable.
I think also, I'm going to jump in real quick. Also, one of the easiest ways to me to go about that, if that makes you nervous, like having to ask for money, the easiest way, Shay, I think she makes Brandy and Megan's too, but she made my my rate sheet and media kit. To me, that's the best way. If somebody offers you something, you know, if you're looking for a way to do it and you're not sure, you can always reply with, you know, thank you so much for reaching out. I've attached my media kit and rate sheet for your review. Period. It's that quick, it's that fast, then you don't have to go back and forth. And if they're willing to pay, they can say, well, you know, we don't have this budget, but we do have this budget, you know, or they can say, oh, that's great. Sure. This is what we want you to do. Or they'll just say, sorry, we don't have a budget. And then it's up to you to decide whether you're going to move forward or not.
Definitely. Well, thank you.
I'll add something really to that too.
Oh yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Just for coming from a smaller influencer, an influencer with a smaller following account, don't let asking for money hinder you from knowing your worth, because you might feel like, oh, I only have a certain amount of followers, you know, they're telling me that they, you know, based on my following, they can only pay me this. Don't go for that. Like, always go hard for what you want and what you think you deserve, and don't stand back.
Right. Definitely, everyone. Just if you didn't listen to anything, know your worth and make sure you're asking for what you deserve. Nikki and Shay, talk. you both are full-time content creators. When and how did your influencer business go from being a creative outlet to a viable career? And, what made you want to jump that leap?
I worked in retail for a really, really long time, and I realized that I was making brands, millions of dollars. I was running multi-million-dollar stores. And that's, from the hiring process, the team to make it happen, all the way to selling the merchandise. And I had to shift my mindset and say, if I can make someone else this much money and work, over 40 hours a week and all of that good stuff, if you know retail, someone call out, you're the store manager, you have to be there type thing. And I realized that I can give that commitment to someone else. Like, how big of a difference could I, make for myself and my brand, and build my brand and put my time and energy into myself. So when I made that kind of like switch in my head is when I kind of start to see a difference. Like, I started to be more consistent. I started to take time. I started to actually scout locations instead of like just riding around the corner and be like, oh, let's take a picture here because we are here. But I think it was really that moment of when I had to feel confident in myself and I was comfortable working full time. Like, I have my master's in what I was doing, which is retail management. And the moment I realized, like, maybe I shouldn't do both, and maybe it's time for me to focus on myself, and I'm starting to make more than what I was making in retail management, and my salary was great because I've done it for so long. But when I started making more money, is when I was like, Ahmad was like, Shay, okay, it's time.
So for me, I also was in retail management for a really long time. And I got to the point where like I said, I went back to work. I was really overwhelmed with 2 kids, trying to keep up with the blogging. Like, Shay was saying, you're the producer, you're doing everything. You do everything. It's a lot of work. And I got really exhausted. And my husband also told me, he was like, well, just quit, just quit your job. So I did quit my job. And within about a week, I think it was maybe a week later or so, I actually was at the car dealership with my sister and my mom, and we were sitting outside, and I got an email randomly that I didn't know, obviously, I was going to get from LIKEtoKNOW.it, saying that I was going to be in the inaugural book, The Influencer Next Door. And at that point, I don't have as many followers as I did now. I had no idea about it. I had no idea anybody was even paying attention to me on that scale. And it was kind of like confirmation that, you stepped out on faith and you did the right thing. I'm not, like I always say, I'm not telling everybody to go out and quit their job. It's not about quitting your job, but the timing was right for me. Like, Shay had a different timing. I had a different timing. It was the time for me. And I got really quick and fast confirmation that this is what you're supposed to be doing. That was the right step. And I've been going full speed ahead since then.
Definitely. I wanted to switch to Megan and Brandy. I both know that you are both still working. Brandy, you being a teacher, and Megan, you being a social media manager. So I wanted to know, how do you balance that? How do you balance having a full-time job and also being a content creator and influencer?
For me, right now, like, if you would have asked me that a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, my answer would be completely different than it is right now. Right now, I don't have balance because I work in social media full time. So right now, like, this is all everyone has. So my job is on the front lines of everything. We're changing up everything that we've done in the past to fit what's happening right now. So it's like 12-hour days, super long, very overwhelming. But right now, I am happy to say, like, within the last couple of days, like, we've changed our strategy a little bit for how we've like done things. And so things have been a little bit better, but oof, last week I was in tears crying, telling my fiance I don't want to do this anymore. Like my dog is, you know, she's like my baby. She's getting older. She had some health challenges recently. So I found myself like at 11 o'clock at night at the animal ER. And so it's just been crazy. So balance for me right now, I do not know. But it has gotten better over the last couple of days. So for me, a small win is just ending my day, you know, whatever time that will be, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And then if I can have the chance to go into my personal emails and just respond to an email, that is balance for me right now. So it's crazy to say that, but that's just the current situation until I don't know how long. So that's my life right now.
I hate to sound like a broken record, but I'm going to say the same thing as Megan. There's no balance for me right now. And it hasn't been for quite a while. Like I said, I'm a career educator. I've been teaching for 9 years. And in the middle of my teaching career, I started my blog and I had a baby. And so it just kind of blew up exponentially when my life did. And I had to figure out how I was going to get things done. And I honestly couldn't have done it without the support of my family, my husband, them. You know, when you first start out doing something, there's I like to call it like a grind period where you have to just get out there. You have to just do it. I was going to events all the time to meet new people, to make connections. I was being a part of events. I was taking on in-kind partnerships. I was doing everything I could once I realized like, hey, I'm going to do this. And so I want to go all the way in on it. And so for
I have a
while,
question. How long should that grind period be?
It really depends. Nothing's going to be the same for each person, but I would say I did that for a full year and a half. And in that grind, it's almost like you grind in a different way once you get to a certain point, because right now I'm still grinding it out, just as far as it's just with my time and my efforts. Like Megan was saying, right now everything's flipped upside down. I'm teaching from home via a platform. So I'm in meetings with my kids. I'm talking on the phone to kids all day. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm making lesson plans. I'm getting it ready for the next day and the next week. And it's constant. And then I have a son at home too. He's 7. He has his own work. And I know it's like his teachers and we're friends. I'm like, y'all, Grant's work's going to be late because I can't. But we figured out, like, you know, that my husband can do all the homeschool work with Grant. And he is so graciously like just taking all that on so that I can do this, because I really have 2 jobs. I have, you know, blogging, and then I have teaching. And so I'm unable to really do everything all at once. And I'm pregnant and I need to sleep and I need to eat snacks. I need to drink water. I just need to be doing all that. And so I need help. So you know, moms just grind like that. Women just grind like that. There's not like a complete like stop, you know, but there is a time when you feel like you're going to burn yourself out. It's not healthy to keep going at that pace. Yeah. You have to say no to some things. You have to stop doing some things. Like, this is not worth my time right now. There's something that's more important I need to do. I'm going to do that instead. So it's just being mindful about what you choose to say yes to, and making sure that it's something that feeds your soul, something that you're into, something that you love, and something that's going to help you to be able to continue. But balance right now doesn't exist for me. I don't know if it ever really will. Right. But I'm looking to find more of it in the future.
Definitely. I think just from hearing all of you, it just seems like the grind doesn't stop, you know, in this market. And, you know, content creation is a full-time job, along with if you have another job as well. I think this is something that everybody wants to know. Just stepping into that influencer market, what's the advice that you all give someone when they ask you, how can I step in? How can I kind of grow my following? How can I get brands to partner? What's like that kind of like elevator pitch you give someone?
I would say to start off is you need to be consistent and find exactly what it is that you have to share with the world. We all have a story. We all have something to tell and to offer. And I think social media, as much as people hate it, but I think it gives voice and a platform to be you. And either some people can follow along and love it, and other people, there's an option not to follow along. And that's what's great about it. But I think consistency is key. Once I started being consistent, I started to see that different brands reach out, PR firms reach out. I got to be in the Like to Know It book for my family content. So it was, if I wasn't consistent doing those things, I don't think I would have had the opportunities that have came about. And I think something else that people forget is that it's not all about just taking a pretty picture. You know, you are building a brand, and that is more than Instagram, and that's more than answering DMs. It's, you have to build a platform outside of social media. So if that's whether you have a blog or a website or a podcast or a YouTube or whatever it is that other people can find out who you are and learn more about you, and you have to be consistent with those platforms as well.
For me, I would say first starting out, and it kind of just feeds into what Shay is saying, you have to be sure that you are okay telling your story and being you out there in the world. There's nothing worse than seeing someone that you love online and you love them and you're like, oh my gosh, it's so-and-so, oh my gosh. And then you meet them and they are flat and dead and there's zero personality. And you're like, where is the person from Instagram? Where are they? So be true to who you are, be deeply connected to what you're putting out there. Because eventually you're gonna have to meet somebody. You're gonna meet people from marketing. You're gonna meet PR firms. You're gonna meet brands, and they have to feel that you are being true to who you are, about what you say, about what you do. And as far as the content you put out there, same thing. You absolutely have to have something you're passionate about that you're putting out there. You have to be comfortable with you. Like Shay was saying, some people are gonna not, be there for it, but there's gonna be somebody who is looking for a Shay, looking for a Megan, looking for a Nikki, looking for Brandy, looking for influencing in color. And you have to absolutely be okay with that. Put that out there, be that, because someone is looking for exactly that. There's a lot of pressure to be what you see on social. Have your own, wear your real body. Don't suck nothing in. Wear your hair how you want to wear it. Wear whatever you want to wear. Go do you, because somebody is looking for that. Someone is like, I want to see someone who's going to put on all the colors and the hoops and wear the afro. That's what I want to see. So if I was to go out there and try to be like somebody else, people would be able to feel that. And so just stay super, super true to who you are, to what you're doing, and put it out there, and be willing to be open as well, and have dialogue with people who have something to say about your choices, because that is a part of what comes with it. A good example of that is that, of course I'm pregnant. I'm like really far along, and I'll still do a lot of things that people think that pregnant people shouldn't do. Like I ride my bike all the time. And it's like, people are going to say something about me being almost 8 months pregnant riding my bike, but I told them, don't at me. I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm gonna ride this bike because that's what I want to do. I choose what's safe for me. You choose what's safe for you in different times of your life, but you have to be willing to have the dialogue with people about it. And I think that's the difference. I'm not like arguing with them, like saying, this is safe for me, this is fine. I'm just like, cool, thanks. Thanks for the input, but I think I got it. Me and my doctor been talking, we good. It's cool. So put yourself out there, just be willing to have open dialogue with people about, what you choose to share as well.
Definitely.
Me, I always have like two simple pieces of advice for this. One being that I used to always tell myself, just start. Look at every small step that you take as like a small win, because every step is a win. Do one thing each day that contributes to your main goal, and you'll find it so much more helpful along your journey as you go. Lesson learned. Secondly, I would always say, like, go at your own pace as well too. We all have different timings. We all have different audiences, different types of content, different style, what we like to share. And we just have to remember not to feel like you have to rush that process, because it'll happen for you. You just have to put the work in. You shouldn't play the comparison game with people. Don't look at what others are doing. Don't pay attention. You can study them, but don't copy or, just take your own pace, and then trust your own timing. Put in the work, and just know that you are growing as you're going. And that's all I have for that.
My advice is always to start where you are with what you have. A lot of people think that they have to come into this business with a photographer, with a team, with this, with all the clothes, with all of that. I can remember when I started and I changed what is now my husband's office into like this photography studio, and I got this like white background and I hung it on the wall. The lighting was awful, the pictures were awful, but I started. And from that, I learned, like Megan was saying, I studied a lot of the other bloggers. I used to stand in the mirror and do all these poses and figure out how I was going to stand. You know, I would pull some clothes out. I would go to like, I used to stay in Forever 21, and I ain't even close to 21, but I used to stay in there because that's what I could afford at that time. That's what I could afford. So that's what I did. I would go to Forever 21. I would make an outfit. I would take pictures that my husband would take pictures. I had my son taking pictures, and he's 10, but he was like 7 at the time. And he took some of my pictures with my iPhone until I got to the point where I could actually afford to pay somebody, but you just have to start somewhere. If you don't start, there's nowhere to go.
Yeah, definitely. We're wrapping up now, everyone. So feel free to drop your questions so these ladies can answer a few from the audience. Thank you so much for everyone tuning in. But I wanted to ask you ladies, how does it feel to walk in the room and be seen? I think for me as an editor at Essence, it feels great to know that I'm working for a brand that's really speaking and uplifting for Black women and really being a champion. But when you guys go into these rooms and you see that you're the only one, I feel like, is there still a sense of being proud of yourself that you've made it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that entering into a room where there's not a lot of people that look like you it can be intimidating. Even if there are just your differences. I mean, and I always go back to hair because that's one of the things that people come to me for and people talk to me about all the time is natural hair. And even to be around a lot of women of color and to be the only person wearing an afro, that is still something that that makes you to stand out, and it's a conversation piece. But to walk into a room and to me, it brings like a sense of pride. I'm happy to be there. I'm happy to represent. And it's also putting me on notice that something needs to change. There needs to be more people like us. But oh my gosh, to walk into a room with Shay and Megan and Nikki, it's like, I don't even have words, but it is so empowering. It's so bold. It's like a power move, like when we step into the room. So yeah, it just brings all this good energy from your inner spirit, and it just makes you want to do more and be more and to continue to build. Oh my God, it's making me cry.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
To add to that, that's kind of how
Yeah.
I felt when we went to our first presentation during Fashion Week. Like we went to go see Tanya Taylor's presentation. That was the first actual thing or show that we had been invited to versus just going to events, parties. This was an actual presentation. This was a big thing and we enjoyed it. And being there, we were just in awe of everything that we saw. So of course, we had the mindset okay, we're at this presentation, we'll be at a runway show next season. So it's just it's always just up here. Glad it's with you.
It's too, when you get to see, especially even on a platform like to know it, and there have been conversations about there not being enough representation on this page. And when we go into something like this and we partner with Like to Know It on such a big scale, and then you get to see all of these other girls that you talk to and you follow and stuff get their picture posted up there and stuff, it's like, you're like, yes, you know, you're like clapping in the background because you feel like, you know, we're doing something. You know, we keep saying it's a movement. It's not just a one-time, one-off type of thing. This is a movement that is, you know, we were talking one day about how, you know, let's just say that we work with a big brand. They bring us in, but we have to remember that when they bring us in, we got to have somebody to do our makeup. We got to have somebody to do our hair, which gives another Black or brown girl an opportunity as well. Just like this platform. Now, Nandi, we have you on here, and Essence is now involved, which generates, you know, more ripples, you know, and it just goes out from there. So that, for me, that's the kind of stuff that makes like the biggest impact and makes me really proud of what we've accomplished in just a little less than 2 years.
I'm going to add one more thing to that. I know
Go ahead.
we get a little long-winded, but I think
go
a
ahead.
really good example of that is Brandy and I went to New York and worked with H&M recently. And we were in awe because obviously we knew that we were women of color and we were hired to do this job. But we got to see the photographer, the makeup, the hair. I had already did one of my daughter's hair because I was like, I don't know who's going to do her hair. And sometimes it could be a little off. They don't know how to do little kids' hair and her little puff balls and stuff like that. But when we walked in there, and when I say we were represented from the hairstylist, makeup, photographer, and Brandy and I were just in awe and in shock. And I think it was empowering because sometimes you walk on set or you walk into, you know, a show or with a brand and you're not represented. And they don't know how to cater to your needs because you are a woman of color. They don't know how to work with braids if you're on set, or an afro, or kids puffballs. So I think that was a very strong movement on that brand's part to know who they were hiring and who they should hire to work with us so that we could feel comfortable. And I think more brands should really start to pay attention to things like that.
Definitely. I think it's just a great thing to see just more Black creators being heard. Like, I think we've always been seen. We've always been on mood boards. We've always been the blueprint, but now like we're being heard and we're finally being able to talk and have things like this and really tell our story. So last question that I have for you all, and then I'm going to open it up to Q&A. Just Shay, how is this helping influence or In Color's mission? How are you guys kind of pushing this mission out by working with LIKEtoKNOW.it?
I think first we always say that influencing in color is not about Brandy, Megan, Nikki, and Shay. It's about all women, and it's a movement, like Nikki just said. And I think that we applaud LIKEtoKNOW.it for even taking the time to hear our story and our voice and understand what we feel like was missing. And one of the things was like, we don't feel like we were represented on their feeds. We don't think that we were represented in getting even accepted into the app. And so for them to take the time to even just listen, like they flew us to Dallas and we sat in a boardroom with them and we were able to voice our opinions, tell them what we feel like us as a community needed, as a culture, what we feel like they were lacking, and they listened. And I feel like they not only listened, but they came up with a plan to do better. And I think that's, you know, step one, because a lot of brands, you know, don't even care to know how to make a difference or how to make a change or even hire the correct people to make that happen. So I applaud Amber and her team for even listening to us and our stories. And one of the things that we told them was that, you know, this is a great platform for us, but one of the things that we want to see change is like, we want to see more women of color accepted into the app. And when we went to Atlanta, there were so many girls that applied and got accepted into the app. For me personally, I can't speak for the other ladies, but I know they probably feel the same way. Like, that was just like, it brought tears to my eyes. And we get messages and DMs from people that say, oh my God, I made my first sale on the app. So glad that I signed up. And so I think it's a lot, we have a long way to go.
Yeah.
But I think this is a great start, and thank you, LIKEtoKNOW.it, for letting us just even have a voice and being able to make it a conversation.
Right, right. Well, we are now in the last 10 minutes of our chat, and I'm going to open it up to some questions that the audience has answered. But that was a great point that you just kind of closed out on, Shay, just about brands really seeing us. And if we're not represented, just doing the work to feel that to make sure that we are, and really infiltrating that in their business practices. So I'm really proud of LIKEtoKNOW.it for bringing us all together and for chatting and getting Essence involved. It's just something that, you know, Black women are leading fashion. We're leading that influencer market, and it's about time that they heard us, you know?
Yes, ma'am.
But I wanted to just read up a couple questions that people were asking in the chat. The first, which I think is really good, and I'm struggling with this as well a little bit, is a website a must when blogging full time, or should you stick to social media?
It's a must because you are missing out on coins if you don't have a website. You also, when you only use social media, you no longer own the images. Instagram owns those images. If you have your things on your own platform, that's your intellectual property. You own it. Nobody can take it from you. It's there. It's yours. So you have to have a blog. You have to have a blog. Yes. A website. Yes.
Okay. Do you guys all agree with that?
Yeah, I think that add to that is also think about, remember, like, I think sometime last year where Instagram was shutting down and people were freaking out and all this, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Well, if Instagram goes away tomorrow, Facebook goes away, TikTok becomes a new big thing, like, what do you have that represents you? And your blog is a great way to start. So I always tell people, and I'm that's something I'm personally working on. Like, I don't post on my blog every day. I don't post every week, but it has to be there because you have to get people to go back to that and build your community there in case, you know, social media does go away or you're not on that next big platform that went viral and you wasn't on there.
Right. That definitely makes a lot of sense. Okay, next question, which is also really good. How do you balance content creating, engaging on IG, and pitching to brands? Like, what's your balance? Like, how much do you pitch to brands? How much do you post? Do you guys have a set number of posts? Like, do you know, okay, I'm posting 3 times this week, or what's that like?
Ooh, Shay would probably be the best person to talk about this. She's the consistency queen.
Yeah.
However, I feel like the balance would be on social, you definitely need to be super consistent there in posting because that's where you probably have a really high visibility and a lot of brands probably see you there and all that kind of stuff. So I would say in a 7-day week period, post at least 3 or 4 times, you know, no less. Some people would say you need to post every day 2 times a day. Well, I don't have that kind of time. So if you're like, if you're short for time like me and you can't really figure it out, you know, for every single day, 3 or 4 times a week will get you started. And then like Shay was saying, I post on my blog a lot less because that's where I spend more time with writing, actually, you know, getting all my thoughts out. And it's usually a lot more personal on my blog because anybody who's going to really take the time to go and to my site and read my blog, I want to give them something different and something special. So less
3 or 4 times a week. Ooh.
Well, on the blog, I would say no.
Yeah. But on social media,
yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Because you don't want days to go by and then you post and the people are like, "Who is this?"
Right.
Yeah. I forgot who this was. You know.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Brandy, to an extent, though. I think that and it's all about your community. If you build your community to follow you, where you tell them, I'm only posting on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or you know that you can find a bomb blog post from me every single Tuesday, you can predict that narrative and train your audience to be there when you are available. So that doesn't necessarily have to be every single day. And I think Megan does a really, really good job at that. And we always stay on her about, oh my God, Megan, you haven't posted in 2 weeks, but she's still an audience that, you know, is there.
They know that.
And they know that she's not going to post every single day.
Right, right. This could be like a speed question, but does the time matter when you post?
Yes.
It honestly depends.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, it depends.
Are we?
I say yes.
I say yes.
Yeah.
But then Megan, you're the one that doesn't post for 2 weeks.
I kind of have like I just know, like I kind of like analyze my feed for something. Like I'm just me, but on days like where I know, okay, it depends on what I'm posting, and I'm like, I know that people are really active at 8:30 a.m. or if I'm posting something else, okay, I know that people are really active at when they get off of work at 6:30 or 7 p.m. So it just really depends for me. I just kind of roll the dice, and
Okay.
yeah.
I think I'm thinking the same thing. I mean, you want to pay attention to when people will be actually on sites and stuff like that. So for sure.
All right, yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Because I'm busy during the day, and just to be honest, I don't look at any time. And sometimes if it's not up at 8, 9-ish, then it's not gonna get up until later in the evening. And I even switched like one time, like I'm just gonna start posting at night and see if it made a difference. And for me, it really didn't make a difference.
Right.
But that's just mine.
Okay, cool.
I'm at work. Sorry, I was just gonna add quickly.
No, go ahead.
During the weekdays, like when people are at work, I know for me for myself, I might miss a really important post, like one of them posting, and I don't see it until 3-4 hours later because I'm at work, busy during this time hour. So it really just depends on your particular audience. So.
But to that point, y'all, if you listen to how you're talking about the way that you use social media, then it proves the point that there is a time when you should post, because you're saying that you don't get on all day until later. Shay's saying she either posts and she either is going to look way in the morning or late at night. So that's basically kind of saying that your audience is really pretty much kind of doing the same type of things, especially like Shay, you got 3 kids, I got 2, Brandon got a job, you got a dog, a job, all this kind of stuff. Based on what your lifestyle is when you pick up and look at your phone. I happen to be at home all day because I work at home, so I can pick my phone up at any time. But if you're like a mom with several kids or whatever, and you have another job during the day, you either, like Shay said, look at your phone at the beginning of the day or the end of the day. So now you know that your audience is either looking at their phone at the beginning or the end of the day.
Yeah. So what I've kind of gathered from this is just keeping consistency. Your followers are going to grow to know you. And so whatever you choose to do, just maintain consistency. This one isn't, I'm going to go to the next question. This one is a good one. I have been approved for LIKEtoKNOW.it, which is great. My engagement is good on IG, but I've not been able to transition that to LIKEtoKNOW.it. Do you have any advice on how to convert your followers over to the app?
Yeah. It takes a lot of educating people. One thing that I've learned is, and this is no shade, but typically people really don't read and follow directions. You have to, seriously, like you can put something up and, a few minutes later, somebody will come back and say, hey, how do you do that? Even though you literally just spelled it out there. So constantly putting the information on how to use the app, people not understanding that you can use it in a screenshot. Like literally, if you screenshot the picture, you get an email, like knowing that you can screenshot the picture, knowing that you can make a wish list inside the app, knowing that you don't have to shop with just me or that you don't have to buy just that one item. You literally have to educate your followers like weekly on how to get to your stuff in the app and educate them on the app is free. It doesn't take anything away from you. You don't have to, give your left arm or whatever to get on the app. It's very simple. It requires nothing of you. It's just a way to get to my items. Or, anyone who has a blog, all of your widgets are embedded into your blog. So it's always going to take you back there. So it's just the education piece, getting that out there constantly for your community.
For anyone that is struggling with that too, like I said earlier, Like to Know It has great tools.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're already a part of the app, you can go on there and go under their blog tab, and you can literally search for anything. And they actually have widgets that you can use and plug in your own pictures and your own, you know, LTK page, and share with your followers or make a highlight. And so anytime someone asks you, how do you shop with, or they ask you, how do they shop with you, send them to your highlight, and that way you don't have to always like create a new one. But they have the tools so that it makes it easier for your followers to understand how to even download the app.
Definitely. So we are at 7. I'm going to ask one more question just to kind of wrap it all up. So do answer this quickly, but I think it's a great one to end with. How did you keep from getting frustrated when you first started, when your content wasn't growing as far as followers? I think everyone wants to know how to deal with that. How do I grow them? Like, what's that like, should I care about it? You know? So how did you guys kind of handle that growth period?
Ooh, I honestly, like, it's been a few years since I started this whole thing. And of course you pay attention and you realize, oh, my page is growing or it's not. But I don't, I really don't remember if there's any one thing that's specific. I was just literally posting things that I liked, things that I wanted to post. And I think that, I mean, it may sound like I'm not answering the question, but what I'm really saying is do what you want to do, post what you want to post, you know, figure out a few hashtags that you think fit what you're doing, fit what you're posting. And anyone who's looking for that specific thing, hopefully they will find you through the hashtag or through, you know, your imagery. But it's just like, you have to just love what you're doing. It cannot be just about the number. Now, at some point, the number matters and it impacts you. You know, you want to grow your community, but that cannot just be the only thing.
Right. Right.
I agree. I think in the beginning I was very caught up on the numbers and like, oh my God, like I don't have that many followers and all that. And my sister told me like, why are you, who's following you? Just do you. Like, and when I kind of shifted that mindset is kind of when things started happening. And I think another thing brands look at, yeah, they look at like how many numbers and like how many people you have, but like smaller influencers or micro influencers like me, you know, your audience is a little bit more engaged and more in tuned to what you're doing versus if you have like thousands and thousands of followers. It is easier for you to connect, I think, with, you know, your followers because there isn't so many of them and people are actually following you at this point for a reason.
Right.
They're also
Awesome.
growing with you too.
Yeah.
Shay. So
Yeah.
Very good point.
Yep.
And it's really easy to get frustrated. I mean, I feel like I know for sure. I'm sure some of us do, but you just have to keep reminding yourself like why you're in it, why you started,
Yeah.
and push yourself to keep going, because like I mentioned earlier, it's always going to be a constant process, a constant journey. You just have to remind yourself like why you began in the first place and just keep going.
Right. Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining me today. I enjoyed talking to you all. I think what you're doing is amazing. I think it's like you're just really like breaking the glass ceiling in this influencer market, and you all are wonderful and you're queens and I stand. And so I just wanted to shout and pick up you all because what you're doing is amazing. And thank you to Like to Know It. If you want to know more, feel free to go on the website. You can make influencing yourself a viable career. I think these ladies have all proved that. You can visit the link on your screen if you want to know more about the app. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay home, and stay healthy. And I wish you all a very good evening. Bye, ladies.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining.